I'm gonna do a comparison between the OLED, the plasma, the 1440p IPS display, and the CRT. And I have here Horizon Zero Dawn, which allows me to switch monitors. It allows me to switch from one to the other, so it's great for that comparison. So, of course, the OLED is the best. No question about that. 4K. This is on SDR, which is not even showing the full potential. But I'm doing the comparison on SDR because, obviously, well, actually, the IPS display can do HDR, but it's not good because the black levels are trash. So I'm gonna start during the day, and I'm gonna do a full cycle. This night to day cycle on Horizon Zero Dawn is very short. So just to do a comparison between what I have in front of me and what is on the screen on this OLED TV, the sky looks more blue on the recording. What I have in front of me is not that blue. Also, the smoke is not that blue. So in front of me, it looks less dark. It looks a lot brighter than what's on the screen. It looks better in front of me, of course. So you have to rely on my description. There's no way we can show exactly what we have in front, even if we have a very expensive camera. So, I mean, any equipment. So it looks great. So let's see how it looks on the plasma TV. I go to settings and I can change. I'm controlling with one hand my control, so I can change to monitor number 2, which is great, and it's going to use the plasma. So I can jump to the plasma. Of course, I cannot show full screen the plasma because I have the monitor here, but I don't have enough space. So yeah, it's gonna be off angle. But the viewing angles on the plasma are fantastic, like are absolutely amazing. So it doesn't matter. So right now, of course, this is a 1080p image. That impacts a lot the image quality. But I can always upscale on the plasma, and that's what I do actually. I use NVIDIA Super Resolution, which performs amazing and allows me to add mods like ray tracing, ambient occlusion. I always use reshade and add a lot more details to the games when I use the plasma, and I get a log 60 with perfect motion resolution. So of course, but in the video you cannot see that downgrade on the resolution that much anyway. But talking about the colors, I actually downplayed the colors on the plasma. I was looking at some reference images to calibrate monitors and looking at grayscales and color gamma and a lot of things, and this is what I came up with. On those patterns and those images, this was the most accurate preset I could get. To get all the bars for the colors, to make it as accurate as possible, this is what I got. So what I was using was color on 50, which is too vibrant, probably, and contrast all the way up. But I don't care about accuracy. I turned contrast to 100% and it looks better to me. So I don't give a crap about accuracy. I turned this to 100% and now it looks better. That's what I care about. So the colors, I'm gonna keep it at 42 and still looks so vibrant. I love it. Of course, the resolution is crap right now. And did you see those lines and those artifacts? I don't see that. That yellow tint, I don't see that. That's just the way the camera is recording the plasma. Okay, so if I compare this with the OLED, let me go back real quick. So I have the image fresh, and then I'm gonna go to the IPS display. Let me go to the OLED back real quick. Monitor number 2. $120, which I cannot get 120 frames at 4K on this game anyway. So, of course, a lot cleaner because it's 4K. So this is a much better experience, of course. But I am missing the warm tone of the plasma TV. That's it. That's what I'm missing. It looks less. It looks a little bit artificial in comparison, but it is better. I cannot tell you. It is better. No question about that. Especially the resolution. Now in movement, if I do this, the plasma is better. Like much better. And that's because it's sample and hold. The OLED is sample and hold, so you get blur when you move the camera. And that's a big deal to me. So it is super sharp, super clean. The colors look a little bit more artificial, but when I move the camera, it's a blurry mess. So I would need to use black frame insertion. And when I do that, I lose a lot of brightness. And when I lose a lot of brightness and the colors are not as, they don't feel as candid, they don't feel as warm, I prefer the plasma. So I prefer the plasma, and I wish it was 4K, but it is not, of course. So let's go to the IPS monitor, which is the standard. Sadly, that's the standard on the industry. That's what most. That's what they are producing the most. Let's go to the IPS. This IPS display can do 95 Hz with variable refresh rate with NVIDIA with AMD FreeSync. Okay, the IPS that bright, that just looks blown out, like it is too much. And I have this, calibrated on the settings. I'm not professionally calibrated or anything like that, just the settings. I have it as good as I can get them for black levels and for contrast, for everything. With the best of my abilities, I have it on limit on the NVIDIA control panel. I have the gamma 2.2, and I have the brightness to 5, the contrast to 100%, and the tone set to warm. This is the best image I can get on this IPS display. It is not bad, but you see all the detail on the bright area is completely lost. It looks artificial, even more artificial than the plasma, and it looks sharper, of course, than the plasma TV. I was saying more artificial than the OLED, of course, more than the plasma, and it looks good. And I am getting 95 Hz. I am getting 95 frames per second at 1440p on this game. You see, 95 frames with the 3080. So I am maxing out the capabilities of this display, but it looks blurry in movement. It doesn't matter. You have 95 Hz. It does feel responsive. Not actually, not really, not a lot. Definitely not more than the OLED. But between this and the plasma, I would say the plasma looks similar or even better. I think it feels better. I think it feels better. Not better than the OLED. The OLED is the king on that. So yeah, it's a good image. The colors a little bit artificial. It doesn't look as warm, and the resolution is not amazing. So this is third place for me. Let's try the CRT. And of course, screen size is the big problem. It's too small. The resolution of the CRT I have is not amazing either. So, it is not a big screen. It is not I can do upscaling too, by the way. I can do upscaling on the CRT and make it look with detail, but it's still too small. The screen is too small. Let me max out this with 85 Hertz. So let's talk about the colors. Let's imagine that we can get these colors on a bigger screen and with a higher resolution. The resolution here is absolute trash. Like I would not use this at all. But you see now on the bright area, no exaggeration. I see all the details. All those trees in the back are perfectly lit. The color is warm like the plasma. Oh, it's actually nicer. This green, this grass here is a yellow, is a green that's closer to yellow. Oh, this looks nicer. This dirt here, that color looks nicer. Oh, this green here is the nicest green. It is a nicer green. This looks a little bit pallid on the OLED. It looks pallid on the OLED. These greens here, they look pallid on the OLED. On the plasma, if I turn up the color to 50, it looks maybe a little bit too much. But this is the best in colors here on this area, comparing it with the plasma. I've been playing before. No, I didn't show that on the video, but I was playing with it before. But especially what I like the most about these colors is this part here. And you see that, going that black. It's not like black frame insertion, but it's just the way the CRT works that the camera doesn't like it. So yeah, I mean, it would be a dream to have a 32-inch CRT. That's 1800p, or even 4K if that's even possible. I don't think it is. But having a 32-inch CRT that's over 100 Hertz, 120, that would be a dream. That would be a dream, and I'm sure people would pay whatever for that monitor. Now, in motion, woo! This is unreal, man. Like, you see this in motion, and you have to call criminals to the people or the group of people or the society, whoever decided to eliminate this technology. When you move the camera like this, or forget about black frame insertion 120, forget about anything. This is perfection. Absolute perfection. You move the camera, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not a thing. Now, input lag, I would say the OLED has a little bit better input lag, to be honest.